Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms. Now, I know that I said that I was going to post the rewind for SummerSlam tomorrow, but you know what? I lied! Eddie Guerrero tribute. Oh man, you already know who I am. Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. I'm the catalyst of charisma, the top of the line in wrestling analytics, and I've been making people relevant since 2017. Welcome to the rewind for SummerSlam 2018. Now, let's get some obvious questions out of the way. Was it a terrible show? No. Was it a good or great show? Absolutely not. I would say this was a decent show. Probably on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd rate it a 5.5, 6 at best. On a percentage scale of good or bad, I would say this was probably about 55% good, 49% bad. It had its flaws. All main roster shows do. Especially with that main event. It was terrible. Made Lesnar look stupid. But we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We'll get that out of the way. So, let's start with the pre-show. Let's get into the matches. Rusev and Lana versus Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega. You know, this really didn't do too much. This was nothing special. They could have made it something special, but they didn't really give them enough time. They didn't really do too much with them. It was just kind of, okay, here you go, 7 minutes later, it's over. But, you know, the match did what it needed to do, and, you know, it got Zelina and Andrade the win. Andrade Cien Almas is undefeated on pay-per-view, and, you know, something I can't complain about that because I'm a big fan of Andrade Cien Almas. And I expect big things for Almas if he's 2-0 on pay-per-view. Zelina Vega and Andrade Cien Almas, they were the right winners. Right team won, but there was no Aiden English. I thought Aiden English was going to get involved, but he stayed behind just like Rusev told him to. And they still lost. Rusev and Lana still lost. I think the dissension of Rusev Day is going to continue, and we could very well get a match between Aiden English and Rusev at Hell in a Cell, if I'm to call it. Which I don't think would be a bad thing. As for Almas, I'm not sure where Almas goes from here. Maybe he gets another match on the Hell in a Cell card against somebody else. But you know, it wasn't really a special match. It did what it needed to do, and that was pretty much it. The Cruiserweight Championship match between Cedric Alexander and Drew Gulak. You know, I said it, and it came to fruition. This was a damn good match. Cedric brought it. Gulak brought it. They were dueling chants of "Let's go Cedric, let's go Gulak." Both men were appreciated by the Brooklyn audience. It was hard hitting. It was competitive, and you know something. Drew Gulak did not win. I do not know why he didn't. I do not know why he didn't win. I'm not saying that I'm mad at it. I'm not even mad at it because, you know, I love Cedric. I think he's had a flawless Cruiserweight Championship reign. I think he's doing some of the best work of his entire career as a professional wrestler, not just in WWE. This match, before I get into where we could possibly be going on 205 Live, this match was better than Strowman and Owens, the mixed tag match, the Raw Tag Team title match, Balor and Corbin, Rousey and Bliss, and Roman and Lesnar. Said it was going to be better than most of SummerSlam, and that's what it was. The outcome surprised me. Maybe they got a rematch planned. Maybe we get Gulak versus Cedric in another rematch, possibly on 205 Live. I wouldn't mind it. And maybe that's when Gulak wins it. I don't think that there's anyone else right now on 205 Live in the prime position to take the title off of Cedric Alexander except for Drew Gulak. Lio Rush, too early for him. Itami and Ali are involved in a feud. We got Kendrick and Gallagher acting as a tag team, and Drew Gulak's supporters. We got the Lucha House Party taking on Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy, and then TJP and Noam Dar are tied up in a feud. Gulak is the only one. Gulak is the only one worthy, and the only one in the prime spot of taking the title off of him. And maybe there's going to be no title change. Maybe Cedric Alexander holds the title to Survivor Series, and that's when they pull the trigger on Lio Rush, and we can get Cedric versus Lio Rush for the Cruiserweight title. I definitely wouldn't mind that. That sounds like a damn good match right there. But maybe Ali is not going to be the guy. Itami's not going to be the guy. Drew Gulak's not going to be the guy. Maybe they're going to have Cedric break Neville's reign all the way to Survivor Series, and Lio Rush is going to be the guy to take the title off of Cedric. Who knows? But Cedric wins. Damn good match. I enjoyed it. The crowd enjoyed it. And Cedric retains the title. I'm not even mad. Raw Tag Team title match between the B Team and the Revival. This was a terrible match, terrible ending, terribly booked situation. This match went 6 minutes, and 5 out of those 6 minutes was the Revival beating down the B Team, and then out of nowhere, Axel gets a 30-minute comeback, or 30-second comeback. Dash tries to get in. Bo tries to stop Dash. The ref is distracted. Scott Dawson has Curtis Axel in a small cradle for 4 seconds. Down for a 4 count. Dash does a stun gun on the rope to Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas falls back in the most stupid way, trips over the small package, and reverses it with Curtis Axel pinning Scott Dawson. And the B Team retain the titles. Terrible match. Terrible outcome. Take the titles off the B Team at some point. I don't care when. I hope they do it tonight on Raw. I hope they do it tonight on Raw. Because the Revival, they've absolutely been treated like shit. They need to win the titles ASAP. That should have been the Revival's moment. That was a huge down. Huge down. The Intercontinental Championship match between Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler. This was a very good match to open the show. This went over 20 minutes, and these two guys, they brought it. There was a point where Seth Rollins, he did a reverse superplex on Dolph Ziggler. He reversed it into a lifting reverse DDT that Finn Balor does. That was a great spot. We had a jumping DDT on the apron. McIntyre tried to get involved. Dean Ambrose made sure that McIntyre was neutralized, and Seth Rollins becomes a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. Very good match. I think the wrong man won. I think that Ziggler should have won with Dean Ambrose turning heel. But I can't say Seth Rollins doesn't deserve it. But I can say that it's pathetic that WWE did this, because the only reason why WWE did this and they took the title off of Rollins was to have a 2-month feud with Dolph Ziggler for the IC title just to keep him out of the main event scene. That's the only reason why they did it, which is pathetic. That's pathetic, but I can't say the match was pathetic. The match was very good. Great way to kick off SummerSlam, and Seth Rollins is a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. Congrats to Seth Rollins. New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers. I'm not going to tell you that this was a bad match, because it wasn't. It was fast-paced. It was hard-hitting. It was all over the place. We had some huge spots. Xavier Woods risking life and limb with a huge elbow drop to the outside. Could have broken his elbow. So props to Xavier Woods. Big E doing that spear that's one day going to kill him. The Bludgeon Brothers being as brutal as ever. Spinning side slam on the outside. Match wasn't that bad. It was actually turning into a good match until that DQ finish. I really don't care what anyone says. Unless it is booked correctly, a DQ finish, especially in a match like that, a title match on pay-per-view, DQ finishes should not be allowed. There's only a few exceptions that I will accept a DQ finish in a title match on a pay-per-view. Example, what AJ Styles and Samoa Joe did. That was an exception. What we saw with the Bludgeon Brothers and the New Day, that was not an exception. Terrible ending to a match that was actually turning out to be a decent match. Terrible ending. That left a sour taste in my mouth. I would have been much better with the Bludgeon Brothers actually retaining rather than a DQ finish. I called the New Day, and the New Day won, but via disqualification. I would have much rather have seen the title change or the Bludgeon Brothers retain, either way, rather than have a DQ finish at all. Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens for the Money in the Bank briefcase. This was a joke. This was an absolute joke. This was nothing more than a 1.5-minute squash match. Kevin Owens is one of the most talented performers in the world. Never mind just the WWE. In the damn world! And you're having him you're having him go out there in a minute and a half and be decimated by Kevin Owens with a few shoulder blocks, a choke slam on the steel ramp, and then a running power slam. It wasn't even competitive. And again, same thing as DQs on a pay-per-view in a title match. There's only certain exceptions to squash matches on a pay-per-view. What we saw with Balor and Corbin, I'm going to talk about that. Same thing with Rousey and Alexa. I will talk about that. Those two are exceptions. This was not an exception. Because look at what happened with Braun Strowman later on in the show. This was a terrible, terrible spot for Kevin Owens to be in. At least make it competitive. Where's the NXT Kevin Owens? I'm missing the NXT Kevin Owens. I'm missing the Kevin Owens that used to powerbomb people on the apron. I'm missing the Kevin Owens that took out John Cena and stomped on the United States Championship. That's the Kevin Owens I want back. I'm missing the Kevin Owens that did a frog splash, a headbutt, and a super kick to Vince McMahon. That's the Kevin Owens I want back. Not this cowardly heel Kevin Owens. Cowardly heels are terrible. Terrible. This was a terrible match. Terrible outcome. Matter of fact, I would have much rather have seen Owens win the briefcase in a competitive match rather than have Strowman win in a squash match. Give me some competitive wrestling. You have Strowman and you have Owens, two great talents on Raw, and you have Owens lose in a squash. Kevin Owens is being buried right now. He's being buried. Kevin Owens only has one pay-per-view win this year, and it was by a technicality because he took a Mick Foley spot at Extreme Rules, courtesy of Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman wins. Terrible segment, terrible match. Kevin Owens is buried. SmackDown Triple Threat match, or SmackDown Women's Championship Triple Threat match, between Carmella, Charlotte, and Becky. Carmella was losing the title either way because Carmella has been a failure from the start. Go away heel heat, can't cut promos, can't wrestle. Not even a good heel. She's not even a good heel. She's not getting the right reaction for the right reason. She's getting the wrong reaction for the wrong reason. She's the female Jinder Mahal. She was a jobber given the title. She beat one of our faves in Asuka. Same thing with Jinder, beat one of our faves in Asuka. And then she loses the title back to Charlotte. What was the point of giving Carmella the title if you were just going to give it right back to Charlotte? Why didn't Charlotte win it back at Backlash? That's what I was thinking. It wasn't a bad triple threat match at all. It was actually very competitive. It had some nice spots. I'm not going to discredit the match. I would have much rather have taken Becky Lynch as the winner, but we got a Becky Lynch heel turn, and it was a great damn heel turn. The crowd, that was actually the biggest pop of the night. That was the biggest pop of the night. The crowd went berserk for Becky Lynch's heel turn. And so did I. Not gonna lie. That was an unintentional rhyme right there. I can see Carmella getting her rematch at Hell in a Cell, and then we get Becky versus Charlotte at Evolution, and that's when Becky is going to finally take the title. After all these years, Becky's finally going to get her championship back. She's finally going to get her moment. But it was a good match. I think the wrong woman won, but I'm not really complaining because, everyone likes seeing a Becky Lynch heel turn. Matter of fact, before I continue, the Becky Lynch heel turn, AJ versus Joe, Bryan versus Miz, and the Return of the Demon, those 4 things single-handedly saved the show. Because before this Becky Lynch heel turn, I was already in the area of, okay, that's it, Lashing of SummerSlam Part 2. We wouldn't have even had a rewind. This video was going to be the Lashing of SummerSlam Part 2. But thanks to a Becky Lynch heel turn, Bryan Miz, AJ Joe, and Balor as the Demon, that is what saved this show from the lashing. So you can thank your lucky stars, WWE. You made the right decision. Now, moving on. As far as the WWE Championship match goes, this was the best match of the night. Had great storytelling, had great wrestling. It had a lot of great spots, and it was great to see that tension building between Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. That's what I really like. This is turning into a low-key Gargano Ciampa feud. This is turning into a low-key Gargano Ciampa feud where Joe is Ciampa. He is going after Styles' family, which is the representation of Candice LeRae in this instance. AJ Styles is Johnny Gargano. This match should have main evented. I will not stress that enough. I'm going to say it over and over again until it registers in some of your thick heads. This match should have main evented. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm like tired beyond belief. I went to TakeOver, then I was up till 4 in the morning. I recorded the rewind for NXT TakeOver earlier today. I was up until 11:30 watching SummerSlam and tweeting away. But this match should have main evented. This was a great match. I think it went about 23 minutes, and every single second of it was great. This was better than Styles and Nakamura's match at WrestleMania, which is good. We had some nice spots. We had AJ doing the form to the outside. Joe hitting a huge enziguri. I have no idea how the hell Joe was able to hit that enziguri. He was doing a suicide dive through the rope. Samoa Joe is 39 years old. AJ Styles is in his early 40s. The fact that they are that old and they're able to put on a match as good as we got on SummerSlam last night, that right there, that is dedication. That is passion. And that is something that we need to see more of because we don't see enough of that passion. We see a lot of that passion in NXT, but on the main roster, it is very rarely that you see passion like that. 2 guys who are veterans of the game and are coming up on their final years as competitors. And they're putting on the best match of the night. That's passion. But Samoa Joe, after he threw Styles head first into the steps, Styles was bleeding like a stuck pig. Joe takes the mic and says, "Hey, Wendy, I made you a promise. I think I'm going to have to break it, but don't worry. I'll be your new daddy." And at that point, Styles lost his shit, ran across the table, threw Joe over the barricade, took a steel chair and just beat the shit out of Joe. And Joe was selling those chair shots as if they were bullets. Great stuff right there. And I am okay with it because it continues the storyline and we ended up getting a great match out of it. He went over to his daughter, did Styles, and she said, "Daddy, you're bleeding." That's a good touch right there. I don't know if she was told to say that, but regardless, that was a nice touch. And I think that this feud is only just getting started. This is really, really, really starting to heat up, and I can't wait to see what they do at Hell in a Cell. Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. This, I don't think I would have put after AJ versus Joe. I understand why they did it because that realistically was the only match that could follow such a great match like AJ and Joe. And the crowd, they did a great job. Bryan and Miz did a great job at getting the crowd invested in that match. This was a great match. I believe it almost went 25 minutes. And these two poured their heart and soul into this match. This was a great damn match. Very worthy of SummerSlam. And like I said, it was not too soon. This was not too soon. This was the perfect time to start. Now, I thought that Bryan was going to win this, and that way Miz would have come up with an excuse to get his rematch. But he didn't. What happened We had Daniel Bryan going back and forth with the Miz. Miz with his DDT, skull-crushing finale. Bryan kicked out of the skull-crushing finale. Daniel Bryan hit moves like that diving crossbody to the outside, the Hurricane Rana, and, I think that Daniel Bryan's Hurricane Rana from the top rope is phenomenal. Daniel Bryan has done a great job ever since his return. It's like he never left. But in the end, Daniel Bryan drop-kicked Miz right into the barricade, right in front of Maurice. And Maurice is like, get out of here, get out of here. Bryan is trying to recuperate. Maurice hands the Miz brass knuckles. Bryan's going for a suicide dive. The ref doesn't see. Miz clocks Bryan with a punch with the brass knuckles. And he gets the win. You know something? I really don't mind that. I think that the Miz really earned that win. And now we're going to get another match in Hell in a Cell. I think that this was very well done. And I really think that the next match, I think it calls for Hell in a Cell. And that's going to be part 2 of Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. Because this right here, this and AJ versus Joe, those two storylines are single-handedly carrying SmackDown Live. They're single-handedly carrying SmackDown Live. And I couldn't have been more prouder to watch that match and say that, yeah, that's why I like wrestling. Damn good match. Great match by Bryan and The Miz. Definitely worthy of SummerSlam. That's one of the matches that made the show. Miz gets the win. Props to you, Miz. Props to you. Can't wait to see what they do in Hell in a Cell. Same thing with Joe and AJ. Balor versus Corbin. Finn Balor surprised us all. And I really like that it just came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. And Finn Balor brought back the demon. Finn Balor has brought back the demon. And it was all, he almost looked like that, what was it? That like devil guy from Insidious. You know, the first Insidious where that devil guy was trying to, take possession of this kid's body. I think the kid's name was Dalton. That's what he looked like. It was pretty badass. This match did exactly what it needed to do. This match was a quick 1 minute and 40-second squash, and I am okay with it. That is a squash that I am okay with. Why? Because that is a match that called for it. It's a match that called for it. Finn Balor is the demon. The demon has been protected ever since Finn Balor has gone up to the main roster, which is good. Finn Balor is undefeated on SummerSlam. He's 3-0 at SummerSlam. And they booked that match correctly. Finn Balor getting more of his validity back. Slowly and slowly, Finn Balor has been getting some validity back over the course of this summer. And that right there, that was the stamp on it. Finn Balor is gaining his validity back. Squashed Baron Corbin. Corbin could take it because he's really not that established yet. But a guy like Owens getting squashed. Owens is a former Universal Champion, IC Champion, US Champion, and NXT Champion. And you're going to have Owens get squashed. Corbin, a little bit of an exception, and it called for it because of the demon. They are booking the demon like a dominant character. And I really hope that this is a career reset for Finn Balor. I really hope Finn Balor is on the road to something good. I don't know where Corbin goes from here, nor do I know where Balor goes from here, but I can only hope it's good, since they brought back the demon unannounced. Stiles and Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship. This was not a bad match. Don't misunderstand anything. This wasn't a bad match at all. It was entertaining to a certain aspect in the beginning with Jeff Hardy mocking Shinsuke, and then we got that swanton spot on the apron, which I thought Jeff Hardy could have killed himself. But it wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a bad match. The problem was the crowd was just tired. The crowd was tired. The crowd was bored with how the entire event has gone, which is understandable. 7-hour show. The right man won. This match only went 11 minutes. It was there to just get Shinsuke Nakamura his title defense, and Nakamura is still the United States champion, rightfully so. Shinsuke Nakamura continues his reign as champion. After that, Jeff Hardy was still laying in the ring. Nakamura left. Randy Orton came out. Orton came out, and I actually thought Orton was going to do something, but Orton said, no, and walked right back. Teasing it. Orton was just teasing it. That's a good heel right there. Randy Orton just teasing Making him wait. I like it. We're going to see what happens with Orton and Hardy on SmackDown. And I think that they are going to be building towards that match at Hell in a Cell between Orton and Hardy. Alexa versus Rousey. We all know Alexa can't wrestle. We all know Alexa sucks. We all know Alexa can't cut good promos anymore. Alexa's go away heel heat. Rousey needed to win. That is exactly what happened. Rousey won within 4 minutes. Tore Alexa's arm off. Rousey's the new Raw Women's Champion. Good. Now we can build towards something good. But, with the announcement that supposedly we're supposed to get Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey, Evolution's already looking like a joke because we got Alexa Bliss versus Trish Stratus, which was announced during NXT TakeOver, in which I was in attendance at. Now we're going to get Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey. This card's looking like shit for Evolution. Put Rousey in there with Ember Moon. That is the correct woman to face Rousey in that scenario. Have Alexa get a rematch at Hell in a Cell, and then put Ember Moon in that spot. Ember Moon is the most worthy woman on the roster in that spot. Ember Moon has only had one legitimate loss since she came up from NXT. Why not give it to her? Why not give that opportunity to her? She has nothing going on. Have her win a match, or a number one contenders match, face Rousey at Evolution for the title, and you could have Ember Moon get a good showing. Maybe it would open Vince McMahon's eyes, because we all know that Vince McMahon's eyes ain't open to anyone unless you're a bleach blonde Barbie doll, as everyone says on the internet. Unless you're a bleach blonde Barbie doll, or you're an oversized, uncharismatic muscle man, like Roman. Rousey wins. Good choice. Now we get Roman and Lesnar. I really thought this was just going to be the same match from WrestleMania with Roman winning, and then Strowman's going to save us all. Strowman comes out and said that he's going to watch the match. He's going to watch the match happen, and whoever wins is going to get these hands. The match started, and it was nothing but 3 Superman punches, 3 spears. Lesnar has him in a guillotine choke, then starts suplexing him. Lesnar steps aside from a spear. Reigns goes through the ropes. Suicide dive takes out Braun. And then out of nowhere, we got Lesnar F5ing Braun, hitting Braun with the briefcase, and hitting Braun with a chair. Lesnar then gets back in the ring, looks over at Strowman, then turns back into a spear from Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns is the new Universal Champion. You merely brought Strowman out there? And this is how pathetic, this is how disgusting WWE is. You brought Strowman out there just to have the fans stick around to see if he was going to cash in. And by the end of that 6-minute terrible finisher fest, in which the crowd was playing beach balls, and might I also mention, throughout the entire night, not one beach ball was shown. Not one beach ball type reaction. Not one disrespectful chant. But when Roman Reigns and Lesnar came out, what happened? You both suck. And beach balls. That's not a coincidence. People don't fucking like Roman. It's not a coincidence. The majority of the fan base does not like Roman. The majority of the fan base gives Roman go-away heel heat. And Roman Reigns will not be a success as Universal Champion. I would have much rather have taken Lesnar winning. I don't care. You have Braun Strowman go out there only to get beaten down, taken out by Reigns, beaten down by Lesnar, and then ultimately this is what we get. If Braun Strowman does not cash in tonight on Monday Night Raw, if he does not cash in tonight on Monday Night Raw, I swear I think I might lose my shit. I might give myself a heart attack. I might give myself an aneurysm. I might bang my head right through the wall. I'll bang my head right through this man right here. I'll give myself a concussion. There was no pop for Roman. That was a pop of disgust. There was about 3-4 people shown on camera with Roman Reigns t-shirts. Those losers who shaved their armpits with no facial hair, no manhood whatsoever. With the Roman Reigns t-shirts going. That's Roman's fan base for you. Those are the only people that were cheering. Now, I get why everyone is somewhat happy because Roman's going to be a full-time champion. I'm not happy. I will state again, if Braun Strowman does not cash in tonight, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a major problem. Roman Reigns cannot have a lengthy reign as champion. If not tonight, the most I would allow is Hell in a Cell. That's it. Supposedly we're supposed to get Owens and Reigns at Hell in a Cell. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening whatsoever. Not for the title, at least. If it's going to happen, it is not going to be for the title. It's going to be a regular match. I don't know where Strowman goes from here. Most likely, probably going to get Strowman and Roman at Hell in a Cell. Terrible ending to a terrible match, and it really showed how WWE just loves to give the fans the middle finger. All right, I think I'm gonna stop here before I end up giving myself a heart attack before I even upload this video. But ladies and gentlemen, that's been the rewind for WWE SummerSlam 2018. Thank you everyone who tuned into this video. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @TheDJStorms. Do not forget to check out the rundown for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4, which I will post in the description. Shout out to Wrestling Express. Do not forget to join the Wrestling Express group, not the fan page, on Facebook. Do not forget to follow them on Twitter at WExpressNation. And I got an announcement for Wrestling Express that on September 16th, 2018, which is the date for Hell in a Cell, at the Tilted Kilt Pub and Eatery in Wayne, New Jersey, we're hosting a Wrestling Express meetup. I plan on being there. Glenn Davidson, Tommy McGrogan, they're going to be there. You want to come out? It's free. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the rewind for SummerSlam 2018. Catch me tweeting on Twitter, obviously, for Raw tonight. I'll catch you later.